everyone, it's Henrietta and Heather, and welcome to a millennial podcast where we dive deep into the life of our 30s.
We'll discuss our struggles, dreams, relationships, icks, and anything millennials can relate to. Sit back, relax, and let's head on this journey together. We are 30s Unfiltered. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to 30s Unfiltered. I'm Heather, and as always, I'm joined with my co-host, Henrietta. And today is actually a very special day. It's my birthday! Ooh. But we're not just talking about my birthday, because today we're getting reflective. As the year 2024 wraps up, we're taking a moment to pause and look back at everything that has shaped us, both personally and through the podcasting journey.
Yeah, we'll be sharing some of the highs, the lows, and the lessons that we've learned. Reflection is such a powerful tool for growth, and we hope this episode inspires you to think about your own journey over the past year and maybe even set some intentions for the year ahead. And I don't know about you, but I, for one, cannot wait for 2024 to be over and get 2025 started. Birthday girl! Can
Yes!
we sing for you?
I would love for you to sing.
Hurra for deg som fyller ditt år, og deg vil vi gratulere. Alle i ring omkring deg vi står og ser når vi vil marsjere. Bukken ikke nei og snu oss omkring, danse for deg må opp og sprette og spring. And then the high part comes. Ønsker deg og hjertet alle gode ting, og si meg så hva vil du mere? Gratulere. And that is with me being sick and my raspy voice and like my congested voice. So nobody say nothing, okay?
Thank you.
Please.
I loved it. It was beautiful. Beautiful.
It
And
also comes
nobody
with
else matters except for me. Okay?
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's a happy
It's so
birthday.
jolly though.
Yeah,
It is a happy birthday.
it's very jovial, like our languages. It's
Yes.
like it sounds we're like this all the time.
Oh
No.
gosh.
So
Okay.
what are your plans for your birthday?
My plans. It's so weird. I'm turning 34. Okay.
You're just 6 months
And
older than me.
I know I'm turning 34. And I don't know, this year is just so different. I like last night ordered Thai food, was like hanging out, watching TV, and was making necklaces. Like my thing was like I want to do nothing and do
Mm-hmm.
things that like I don't have to think about. Like I don't have to think about anything because I've been so busy.
Yeah.
I just like needed time to just do nothing,
Yeah.
like do mindless things. So I made like 6 necklaces
Your birthday is
last night.
today.
I know, but like, usually I would celebrate the day before, the day
What?
before that. Because it's
Oh,
like my
you did a
birthday
birthday
all week
week.
long.
Got it. Got it.
This is the December birthday curse. Curse and a
Yeah,
blessing.
right.
We get to see everybody, but then we're celebrating Christmas.
So what are you actually doing on your birthday evening
So for my
tonight?
birthday, we're going to Korean barbecue. There's about 16 of us going to Korean barbecue. It was originally going to be like 5 of us, but then I was like, fuck it. Let me just invite everyone. Well, not everyone,
Yeah.
but like more people. So there's 16 of us, and
Hmm.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to just chill, eat some good food, and like have really great conversations. Originally we were gonna go to like Mastro's or something. But I was like, you know what? I don't feel like getting like so dressed up and just it's like a
Yeah.
whole field trip. So I was like,
Yeah.
let's just go to Korean barbecue. We could still get, cutesy, but it's not going to be that serious.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna grub.
I love
That's
it.
it.
Which
Super
which
chill.
Korean barbecue are you going to?
This place called Road to Seoul in Koreatown.
Oh,
Yes.
you should have done like um what's it called?
Karaoke?
Karaoke. Thank you. I was like
What is it called?
karaoke because it's your thing and you're already in K-Town.
I know. I was thinking about it, but honestly, I just want to go. After you eat so
Mhm.
much, you're not going to want to
Yeah,
do anything.
true.
And I was like, I just want to go home, get to
Yeah.
bed on time, and I had
Yeah.
Again, I'm a Capricorn. I got work tomorrow.
Of course you do. Yeah.
hmm I was thinking about
No.
just having like people come over, but I've been having so many gatherings. I just was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to do any cleanup. I don't want to like, be in charge of anything. All I want to do is go out to eat, hang out,
Come home
and
and then
like, bye everyone. I love you. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes.
yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
see you later.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it.
I'm 34.
But
Just
we're
kidding. I'm
still
old.
young, okay? I know 30 is the new 20,
It
okay?
is, it
Just
is. But yeah, so it's my birthday, and so I wanted to have this episode so we can kind of like do a reflection and just
Mhm.
talk about our year and just how much things have changed, what has not changed, what do we see that we want, to be different.
It's funny when I hear the word like reflection and like I've been doing some reflecting. I don't know if I like really understood what that meant until recently, like a couple of years ago, because I I don't know, like I guess I didn't think about like the actual tool that reflection is. I was just like, oh yeah, I've done all these things this year, and that happened, like these memories occurred, right? But I didn't think about like, okay, what happened? What did I learn from it? How have I grown? How can I use whatever happened now still? Like, how can I utilize whatever happened? How can I take from that and like either let it be in the past and or like take it with me as I go forward, I don't know if
Mhm.
that might just be me, but are you like, do you usually do reflecting like at the end of the year, or is that like a tool that you're used to using, or are you like me?
I think I've always done like a lot of self-reflection. These last 2 years have been like the most self-reflecting. I feel like
Mm.
I'm just like so self-aware and like I'm awake now. I feel like I've
Mm.
woken up.
Hmm.
Once a year in January around this time, I'll do my vision board. So
Mm.
I will always reflect on like what I
Mm.
have done the past year and what it is that I want to bring into fruition for the next year. So reflection has always been something that like I've used
Mhm.
and I continue using it just because I love self-reflecting
Yeah.
and just learning and growing and all that, all those things. So,
How many times have you done the vision boards?
God, I've been doing it for the last like almost 10 years.
Wow, that's a
Mm-hmm.
lot. I remember you
Mm-hmm.
showed me your two previous year ones. I remember that you showed me because we talked about actually doing one of those last year, but then we just never got around to it. I feel like the end of the year is like either people talk about it as if it's like this like sad, like, oh, the end of the year, like whatever like didn't happen, or so I feel like there's always like either a like for me, for example, I'm like, I'm so fucking glad this year is almost over because in my case, like, it's been the shittiest year of my life. And I hear it always gets worse before it gets better. And also, did I tell you that I've seen everywhere on TikTok that was it one of the planets have been like in, I'm not,
Retrograde.
no, it's been,
Oh,
I think, was it Pluto or something, has been like in the way of like the Cancer moon since 2008. I think, was it Pluto? Someone
okay.
correct me on
Is
this.
that why?
Yes, literally, it says that Pluto or whatever planet it is no longer in the way for you. So 2024 is going to be the year for you, Cancers. I've seen it everywhere. I've seen so many videos. It's always like Cancer is the lucky sign for 2025, and something else like not just luck in like but luck in like love and just like health, life, everything. So I'm like, thank you, finally. Like no, just like this year,
But
what
again, like those things, like it's whatever you want to believe, right? But
Yeah,
like,
I
let us know,
totally
like,
agree.
what
Yeah.
I want to know what it has been for it to be shitty for you. Share.
Well, first of all, just the beginning of the year just wasn't like great because I mean, I moved back from LA in December of 2023. And again, I did not want to, but it was so hard living in LA at the time. And I couldn't stay anymore because I had applied for jobs and I could have stayed and worked like and not gotten paid because I did have that option. But and I also could work because I had my work visa, but I couldn't afford to live there without getting paid. So I had to move because I literally couldn't afford to stay there anymore and it sucked. I guess it was all for a reason because I even then like I started feeling you remember, like I felt like shit, but I just thought I was exhausted, I was stressed out, all these things. But really, it was my hyperthyroidism that it started. I guess like that's probably when it started. I don't even know because you can't really pinpoint when those types of diseases start. Um,
When did you
and
find out? That was like 2 months after you were like
not
back
until
home.
beginning of April is when I went to the
Oh
doctor.
wow.
Because
Got it.
it in the beginning, because it was so cold for so long here. Like we had more snow than we've had for the past like I think they said 40 years. It was
I remember.
horrible. So fucking cold, so much snow. And because I was outside and like shoveling the snow, you remember, like all the time, I was so exhausted all the time and I it was cold, so I was like, "Ooh, I just felt like shit to be honest."
Hmm.
But I didn't think much of it. I was just like, "It's cold, it's dark, my body's still adjusting, it's fine."
Right.
And
So from like December, you were like from December to April, you were still adjusting from like your life from LA to Norway and like just moving in all your things, adjusting to the time zone and like getting back into the routine of shoveling snow and shit.
then
And
was
and then like
applying
in
for work.
April.
Yeah,
Right, 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 right.
and I was trying to like, trying to figure out my life and I wanted to like as soon as I could, like I getting a job wasn't my priority because I was like, I'm getting my like if anyone has ever been through this exact situation, you've no idea what it's like. People can say whatever the fuck they want, but like completely changing your life is fucking hard. It's not like, oh yeah, I'll just like apply for a job and like start working the next day. No, it's so mentally, emotionally, physically draining. And I've done this 4, 5, 10 million times. I don't even know at this point. And it takes a toll. It really does. And because I didn't feel well at all, but I was just like, I'm just tired. Maybe it's like my depression's coming back. I don't know. But yeah, so that started just like getting worse, but I just didn't think it was any like health issues. But then it just would get worse and worse and worse. And then I remember telling you, but I think I told both you and my mom later than I should have because I was like, oh yeah, my resting pulse is at 100. And you guys were like, that's not normal. Go to the doctor.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay. So I go, and that was my appointment was in the first or second week of April. And that's when he calls me. And doctors don't call their patients unless there's something actually happening. So he was like, your B12 levels are extremely low, hence me being so tired all the time. And also, you have like hyperthyroid, like, or he was like, so you have an autoimmune disease. I'm like, what? And yeah, it's hyperthyroidism or Graves' disease. And I was like, what? Like going from in my head thinking I'm completely healthy, but I'm just like tired. Maybe it's my allergies because it was like April, right? Um, but then I was like, no, you have an autoimmune disease. I was like, what the hell? But luckily, it explained why I was feeling like shit and that I wasn't like lazy. I wasn't just like my mood or whatever. And so, yeah, that actually was like kind of nice that I had an explanation. And then I went to see a specialist a couple of weeks later, and they put me on medicine that I started, yeah, I would say like beginning of May. And then my body adjusted pretty quickly, but I was still like dealing with
Well,
literally
no.
all the symptoms.
I remember like for a moment you like each body part like you could barely move
Oh yeah,
and
so
then like
that's
you
coming
couldn't
later.
walk. Oh, okay.
That didn't have anything to do with the actual that with hyperthyroidism at all. That was
Mm.
something else. So yeah, but I had all the symptoms that you have when you have hyperthyroidism, except for losing weight. That was the only thing I didn't get. Like, what the fuck? All the other ones I had, yay me. But the thing is, like some of the symptoms that are common, I already have because I have, I'm lactose intolerant and I have IBS, and so those are like, just like your bowel movements, like that is a big symptom. Just in case anyone is like, oh, maybe I have it. Like being super sensitive to heat, I was sweating so
But don't self-diagnose yourself. Go to the
no, no,
doctor,
no. But just like, but it's still like if you have these things, like maybe go to the doctor and just like
right?
make like just check everything. And also irregulated cycles, and I'm on birth control. So like I that didn't so there were a few things that were kind of masked. But my pulse being so high, I was like, okay. But then so yeah, my medication started helping. But then at the end of May, I'm assuming like my body going through all these things, like maybe my immune system wasn't the best, even though technically it doesn't affect your immune system, even though it's called an autoimmune disease, but that's a different thing. Um, so I was at this cabin in my hometown for one of my friend's bachelorette parties, and I happened to sleep in a part of the house that had been um, like the doors had been open all night and the lights were on all night, so it was already infested with mosquitoes when I went to bed.
I remember
Which,
that.
yeah, we didn't know exactly where I was going to sleep, but I was like, oh, I'll just sleep here because like I was used to sleeping alone. Everyone else in the house was used to sleeping with their kids or their partners. So I'm like, I'll sleep alone. That's fine. Um, but yeah, I literally had almost 100 mosquito bites after that night. Like I kept waking up and hearing them because it was so silent when you're by the water and there's nothing. All I heard were mosquitoes. So I was just like bzzz, all
Ooh.
night and I didn't sleep at all.
Ooh.
So yeah, a couple of days later, I was like popping up like more and more mosquito bites, and I was like, what the fuck? And 3 days later, yeah, I my body starts hurting, and I didn't think much of it. I thought I just slept wrong, but like every day, a new body part started hurting. Every day, like it started getting worse and worse, but it wasn't until maybe like yeah, 3 day or like 6 days after the bachelorette party, I had to go to the ER. I was literally in the most pain I've been in my life. I went to urgent care, I went to the ER, I went to a specialist, I went to my doctor like multiple times. And what's it called? It's called a septic, like it's a septic infection. Basically, I had an arthrital infection and it affected every joint, every muscle in my entire body. Like literally from like my fingertips down to my toes. I couldn't move like for a couple of days. I had like it hurt to do anything and everything. My mom had to like dress me, she had to shower me, she had to help me in and out of like the bed. I could barely even like go to the toilet by myself. It was horrible. And that lasted for like 2.5 weeks where I was in so much pain. Like I
It
cried.
was literally like 3 weeks before I came, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Um, yeah, it started June 1st or 2nd, and then you got here on the like 18th or 19th,
Hmm.
something like that. That was horrible. Like I have never experienced pain like that in my life. I can't even explain it, but it was
Yeah.
like
I
it
remember
was
the videos
that.
you sent me of like,
Yeah.
or your mom sent me of you like barely being able to walk. Like you were literally walking like you were an 80-year-old woman.
No, like 100 years old. Literally.
Yeah. Well,
Like my grandfather, he's
oh
84,
yeah, that's
85, and
true.
he's like chopping
Thanks.
down wood and stuff. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah. No, literally it was like I was 100 years old. It was so bad. And then so they put me on a cortisone treatment for 9 weeks. And at the end of that, I was like, I started to feel like the moon face because it wasn't that high of like a dosage, but still, I was like, get me out of it. And then even before that one ended, I gave myself a skin disease. I had perioral dermatitis, which came from this product that I used that was horrible to my skin. And it like the flare up was so bad and painful. Like it was just like itchy and it was like inflamed. And so I had to get on another antibiotics, um, which was just so annoying. I had to wait for like 3 or 4 weeks after it happened because my doctor was on vacation. Like he literally this year, like our family doctor, he probably made like bank from the Goksta family because my dad has been there so much this year. My mom has been there so much this year, and then me. So I'm like, I've been there like probably like 20 times this year.
I
Thank
know.
God for Norway's healthcare system. I will just say that. And then also my grandfather passed away, which we knew was going to happen because he would have been 93 like a week after he passed away. And it was like peaceful, but like the aftermath of like me and my dad were the ones to empty out his apartment. It was just a lot of work. And so that was just like it kind of just like everything's been like boom, 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 boom. And then well, you were here, which was amazing. And then I went to Barcelona with my best friend Grisel, which was also amazing. But that was when I had the dermatitis. So like my face was kind of like, "Ugh." And then I came back and then I was like, okay, the rest of the year is gonna be great. Let's like all the bullshit that's happened, it's gonna be better. Wrong. At the end of September, my mom out of nowhere. Well, did I tell you that she had had double pneumonia all summer?
No.
Oh yeah, she apparently had it. She didn't know.
Mm.
I was like, she's like, yeah, like it's been hard to like breathe a little bit this summer, but like I didn't think much of it. She had double pneumonia. Um, Yeah, so then we had just had a recording session, and that same night, my mom started getting super sick out of nowhere. Like, and you guys know me with my emetophobia, which is the phobia of throwing up, was it was one of the worst nights for my phobia because well, my food poisoning was worse, but she was throwing up and she was really sick, and we didn't know why. And then so I was a mess the next morning. My mom was still really sick. And me, like I have my entire life, my mom has always been like sick, but it was bad when I was a kid. She was in and out of the hospital a lot. Like she's had two kidney transplants, two heart attacks, she had a tumor, she's had like multiple things, like a kidney stone, literally everything you can think of. And so this was like trauma in my childhood, which I have never ever dealt with. And I this year is the first time I've like maybe I should like actually talk about it with someone because I feel like maybe there's some unresolved things that could like would make sense if I talk about it. I've literally this year for the first time thought about like maybe I should like dig into that a little bit, you know? So then this happens and then so the next day she's not getting out of bed. My dad, who's been through all of this for all of my life, was like chill about it because he's like, she'll be fine. You know, it'll be fine. Like he's like more calm by nature, but he also like has seen worse, I'm assuming, right? But me as an adult, um, now understanding how scary things are and like how severe certain things can be. And I just like, I had such a gut feeling that something was wrong, but I was also scared because of the throw up thing that I was just like, I didn't even want to go down and talk to her just in case she would throw up again. That's how scared I am with this phobia. But like time went by and I'm like, she's not waking up, like nothing is happening. And around like 1 or 2 p.m., my dad asks her, like, do you want to go to the hospital, urgent care? And I just hear her like not kind of responding. So I'm like, no, I'm calling I'm calling the ambulance because this is like something is just like I no, I'm calling. So then I call and then I'm getting more and more like where my body is just like reacting more and more, and I'm just like, this is not good. Anyway, the
It's
ambulance
probably
comes and
like one of those, like, remember when you called the ambulance when you were a kid?
yeah,
Probably that same exact moment and those feelings, like, definitely
came
came up
flooding back.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've called the like Heather said, I've called the ambulance a few times when I was a kid, like 7 or 8 years old, and my mom was like having like some sort of like attack and being really sick. Um, but this time I know how bad things, like I know the severity of like having like an illness or whatever. So they get here, and it's funny because one of the EMTs, like he had picked up my mom before, like 15, 20 years ago. So he like recognized her and all the stuff, but like it was bad when they were here. But they bring her in. We know nothing at this point, just that she was sick and she was not responsive. We hear nothing the rest of the night. And then the next day, we just know that she was in the ICU and she had been there all night. And then we
Mhm.
try to call, we don't hear anything. We try to call her, she's not responding. I like packed her bag because I was just like, oh, what does she need? What does she need? And then we call the hospital around like 4 or 5, and we hear nothing. So we're like, let's just go. So we go, and we found out that she had sepsis, which for those who don't know is um, blood poisoning, and also a gallstone attack, whatever you want to call it, infection. And yeah, long story short, after like talking to multiple doctors afterwards, every doctor has said if I had called the ambulance like an hour later, she would have most likely have died. I don't think she's ever been that close to like actually dying. The other times she has had like her heart attacks and all this stuff. And it really like hit me. And like I cried a lot. She cried a lot. I'm trying not to cry now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dear mom.
Yeah, I know. Um, so yeah, my body just like completely, I guess, like shut down, but also like all the things that I've experienced in my childhood, like just came flooding. I think like I don't even know how that's possible, but like I have lost like half of my hair. It's called um telogen effluvium or something, which is common when you go through like something super stressful or if you're sick. Um so like yeah, I started losing hair. Like I could like never, and like my hair is pretty like fine and like thin. And my phobia like was also like still kind of in my body afterwards, because for weeks after it happened, my mom couldn't even cough or like run to the bathroom without me like actually like freaking out and getting like just super anxious. So I started like I was trying to figure out like what the fuck can I do. So my mom's cousin, she suggested that I go to this healer here, and he specializes in acupuncture and Chinese medicine. So I did a couple of sessions with acupuncture, and I think it's helped, but I mean I can't be sure because I don't like that specific trigger, hopefully doesn't happen that often. So like I don't know how much it has helped, but I'm thinking, I mean, it's better than nothing. But
I think when
that
you
was
know, you'll know when you're triggered because those same feelings and the body sensations will definitely come up. And so
yeah.
when that happens, like you're just gonna know, like, oh, it's happening again right now.
Yeah. So I definitely know that I like my main priority for next year is going to be to go back to therapy, because my therapist, she has not been working for the past couple of years. And I think that's why I've been hesitant to like try to find a new one, because I love her so much. But now it's like, okay, it's time, because I know that I'll need like to talk about the childhood trauma and just like how to cope with triggers and like folk like all this stuff. I just need to go back. But Yeah, so that was like recently, and then now we're here, and it's almost the end of the year, and yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
I got it
been,
all.
and then also like having like a minor depression all like I think I've been like in denial, but I haven't been like a little depressed this year. But I mean, the ones who've been with me, the one I'm sure maybe you now are thinking like, yeah, that makes sense. Grisel certainly saw it when we were in Spain. So, but I was just, there were so many other things that I'm like, that's at the forefront of like how I'm feeling. But I also, yeah, of course, like it's different than the depression I've had in the past, but it's definitely been there. Like I've had other friends tell me like, oh yeah, like I don't really see like that smiley, bubbly Henrietta that we know. It's been, but it was also like there's also just like always something else that was more like that, like more sensational in my body and my mind than like just me being sad, you know?
Yeah, no, I got all that. And I
Yeah.
just want to take a moment to acknowledge you and just like everything that you've been through and like thank you for sharing and being so open and honest. I think that is like a superpower, that you have and you have been through a lot this year, you know. And I think like it's part of life, right? Where we learn, like we go, it's like ups and downs. It's a roller coaster. We're gonna go through the highs, the lows, and then the highs and the lows. And, I know that you have not been happy about moving back home and like you miss everybody and we miss you too. Um, and, like I believe that everything happens for a reason. And I think that you being home was like probably the best thing that could have happened for you and for your parents because
Yeah.
if you didn't move back home, like who knows what have happened to you because you got super sick. You
Yeah.
got so sick. Like it
I
was
wouldn't
so
have gone through the
bad. I don't think you guys know. It was like so bad. When I
yeah.
saw pictures of her, I was just like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
Like she's like 33 and she looks like she's like 80 years old or
Oh,
100 years old.
yeah.
But like you were so sick. And then
Yeah.
like the whole thing with your mom,
Yeah.
like if you weren't there, like who knows what would have happened.
Yeah.
And like the support that you've been for your dad, like, losing your grandpa and helping him with moving all the things. Like, I know your parents definitely are grateful that you are home, even though, you aren't working right now. You aren't doing the normal things that we should be doing.
Mhm.
But you guys have gone through a lot as a family.
Yeah.
And it's like so important that you are there with them.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even see it any other way, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But again, it's definitely not easy. And, for me too, I'm like with the whole thing about my brother, like him passing away, like it's just part of life. It's
Yeah.
inevitable. We're all gonna die.
I know.
We're all gonna die. It sounds
Ah,
so bad, but
I
that
know.
is
It's
what
we're
the
all
truth
meant to
is.
be.
We are all going to die one day.
I know.
And all we can do is just like be with each other and tell each other that we love each other and have fun. And
While we
that's
can,
it. Yeah, that's
you know.
literally
Yeah.
it.
I
And
know.
do the things we want to do, create vision boards and like make them come to life.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know it's been, but yeah, I just want to acknowledge that, yeah, it's been a shitty year for you. It
Yeah.
has been a shitty year for you.
Yeah. No, and also thank you for being there this entire year because you really have been. And I mean, I know that if I call, even if it's in the middle of the night over there, you would pick up and you would be on the phone as long as I need to, even though I haven't called you in the middle of the night. But I know that if I did, you would. And not everyone would do that. And so I hope you know how much I appreciate you and love you for that.
I love
No,
you
always
too.
being there. Because I
Yeah.
know you haven't had an easy year either. It's been hard for both of us.
Listen, I'm like, it
Tell us,
has been
tell us
one thing
about
after the.
your year because you've also had we've both had this like snowball of a year.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's start from January. So
Yeah.
January, so it's been a year, like a little over a year since I've been single.
You
So
can also mention December, what happened in December of last year, because it does like I feel
oh
like it's
yeah, that's true. That's so true.
Yeah.
So yeah, like literally this time last year, I had gotten into a car accident like 2 or 3 days before my birthday last year.
It was bad.
And it was so bad.
Bad
Like
accident.
my car got totaled. Um, what is it called? They T-boned me. Like I was going through a stoplight
Mm. Yeah.
and this guy was just like speeding through a red light and Mason was in the car with me and he was sitting in the driver's or the passenger
Passenger
seat.
seat.
And thank God, like we walked out of it with like minor
Literally.
injuries.
Yeah.
And because like that a truck hit us. I was driving my Prius. Thank God it was a brand new car.
I was gonna say, and it wasn't like the old, like the paper thin Priuses. Thank God that
No,
it
it
was
was
like
like
newer, like more advanced Prius.
I had just gotten that car in August last year and like then it was totaled December. But like I'm so grateful. Like this is why I just like I'm like I have to get a new car every year because not every year, but like every
Yeah,
like couple of years because that was horrible. It was
so bad.
horrible. And like I had gone through like this PTSD of like, dude, I could have lost my son.
You could have both been dead, dude.
I don't care.
Like,
Like I didn't care about
no,
me,
I
but like I
know,
could have
I
like
know, but like as your friend, like I'm just thinking, like literally, because it's a small car, and you both could have died, which is
Mhm.
like when you called me, I was like, do I need to get on the next plane? I was like, what the fuck? Like that was
Yeah,
bad.
it was so bad. And you
Yeah.
had just left, I think. You
I
had just
know.
left like
I
a
think
week
like
after.
4 days. Yes, literally.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, I guess on the first, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, thank God, like Marisol actually, she was there. I called her and she came, she picked up Mason, and then I went to like the hospital because I was like, I think I was in such a shock that like, obviously after you like all the pain starts flooding in.
Yeah,
So
because
I ended up
your
going,
adrenaline makes you like not really feel the pain.
hmm So like I ended up going into the ER. Mason went with Marisol and like we were just like traumatized of like being in a car.
Yeah.
So I
Seriously.
was dealing with that and then of course I went back to work after like a week or two.
Of course.
Um, because your girl got to make money.
I know.
But anyways, yeah, because I had just gotten like my new place and like the rent isn't cheap here. And I was like, I need to work. Like I need to work.
Mhm.
Um, so that happened. And then in January, mind you, I had just left my relationship in August that year.
Yeah.
In January, I find out that my ex has already been like seeing somebody else. So like that was a whole thing in it. So I was so like heartbroken because I was like, I was with this man for 11 years and like you go off and you're already in another relationship or whatever it is. Oh God, that was terrible. So
Yes.
after that, I remember the only thing that I did, I went to cycling
Mm.
like every fucking day. I
Yeah.
went to yoga. I started running. Like it was
That's
the
when they're running.
only
Yeah.
that was when the running and all that stuff happened. By
Oh
the
my
way,
God.
I'm not running anymore. I stopped running. That's a different story.
But I will say you did become a runner this year, and that was one of your
Exactly.
goals.
Exactly.
So the most important thing is that you were one because you did
Exactly.
run a half marathon or like
I
a marathon.
I
Was it
didn't
a
run.
half
I
or
did
a full?
a 15K.
Okay,
A
still more
15K
than
and
I
I
never would
ran
do.
from start to finish 15K. I would have never done that if like I didn't have the motivation to do it. But
Yeah,
now I know like I do love running. Running
yeah,
is like so like you get the runner's high after and it just brings so much clarity. I don't know. I love it. I need to start running again. But so that happened and then in February my brother passed away
yeah,
by suicide. And oh, I had never lost anybody close to me before. And so it was horrible.
yeah,
He had gone missing for like 2 days. No, a day and a half. And oh, that's a whole nother fucking story.
yeah. Yeah, that was
He
bad.
passed away at a church and the church didn't tell us. We like literally had to go searching everywhere. And then all the church did was give us like an incident number. And yeah, it was so fucking bad. I don't even want to talk about it.
Um,
Um,
yeah, you don't have to. It was bad. I mean, I know because I was on the other side of the phone when it happened, or not when it happened, but when you found out.
yeah.
It was bad.
It was like meant to be though. I feel like my brother, because like the night when we found out, I had this urge that like I need to go find him. I need to go find him. I need to go. And mind you, like I'm in Marina Del Rey and like I drove all the way to the valley at like 6 p.m., right? So it was like 2 hours of traffic. And
Mhm.
I was like, I need to go. I need to go. And so we were just like driving around at night, looking all over the place. And then yeah, we ended up calling the police to come to the house. My mom gives the incident number. We're like trying to file a report. The police officer comes back into the house and like breaks the news to us. And like it's like my whole family there. And he's like, I'm so sorry. And we just like, oh God,
Disbelief.
we all just like, it was so, um,
I would just think that it wasn't real because at that point, like you're looking for him, thinking that they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, we found him. He's here." Not that you're never gonna see him again. It's just such a like unbelievable thing to hear.
yeah. And like, I just remember my mom like hugging me and like screaming and crying and like it was it was the worst day ever. Oh God. Yeah. So, yeah.
You
So
know
that
that.
happened and so then I was like planning my brother's funeral,
Yeah.
which I've never planned a funeral. Um and then I started my personal development program. And you know, the last thing you would think is I'm gonna start a fucking program, but it actually was like the best thing that I could have ever done for myself at that time.
Yeah.
Um, because everyone was just so supportive and like they helped me, you know, plan my brother's funeral and you did too. And thank you so much for helping me with like the programs and stuff. Now, like I'm like, we can open up our own funeral business and like literally make people's life a huge celebration and make it beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I went through that experience and then what
That
else
was the
happened?
beginning of the year.
The beginning of the year. Yeah. Yeah, and then in April we started the podcast.
Mhm. Well, technically, we started in like March,
We started in February.
very March. Yeah, planning and stuff.
Yeah,
We
because
did so much planning.
remember we did in February, even like the day after my no. We
That's
were planning in February, and then
yeah.
even like during my brother's funeral stuff, like we were
Right.
still like working on the podcast.
Mhm.
And then what? In April, we had the falling out with our friend who was actually supposed to be doing the podcast with us. And so that happened.
Mhm.
And
Which affected you more than me because you guys were friends for a while.
right. And so when they
Not to say
say
that she wasn't a good friend, but like you guys like
right.
had like the longevity, like you guys had been friends for a while. So
Right. And so, yeah, just like they say, be careful who you start business with,
I
especially
mean,
your friends.
I it's honestly it can be such a blessing like to be able to work with your best friend is like such a like fun thing, but then it also can be detrimental to a relationship because some people they just I mean like you I mean and this is the case for everything, but like working with someone, doing something with someone there's bound to be like clashes because everyone works differently. And so yeah, it's definitely like even like everyone's had coworkers they don't like. Everyone's had like people in school that you have to work with that you don't like. So or people that you like, but you just cannot work with them. So it's just like, or living with them, like being roommates. It's such a fine line, and it sometimes it just doesn't work out, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think, well, anyways, that
Yeah,
happened.
yeah,
That happened. And then I think what else happened? And then I came to visit you. That was like my time of rest and
yeah,
rejuvenation, and it was fun. It was fun,
yeah,
even though I did sleep a lot, but it was nice to like get away from the reality of my life and just be there with you. And like all
yeah.
I did was TikToks. And then at that time, Henrietta was like, "What are you doing? Oh my God, this is so weird." And then
Yeah,
after I left, she like went on a TikTok spree. Um,
sorry. I know. I don't know what came over me, but I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. But I just had to be introduced to it like in my own time, I guess. But I
mhm.
also have to say, the funniest thing, which my mom and I are gonna make fun of you for this forever. The first day you got here, I don't know if you've had a jet lag all that much in your life, but Heather woke, and there's a 9 hour time difference, right? So Heather woke up, what, like at 6 a.m. or something? And she's like, she texted me, and I didn't see it until I woke up, but she's like, I'm gonna go out running. And I'm like, okay. And during the summer here, it's like light out, like 24/7. And she came back, I think that day, she's like, I'm gonna go running every morning. And then all the other days of the time you were here, you like slept in until like 9 or something. And I'm just like, jet lag setting in.
It was so fun. Like, listen, I didn't take naps, okay? I really was like trying to adjust to the time. So we
Yeah.
went to bed at, no, actually, I'm lying because I went to bed like at 2 a.m.
You want, yeah,
Yeah, because I was also not used to it being sunny all
yeah,
fucking day.
I know.
Even like at 2, 3 a.m., there's still light outside.
Yeah, it's never pitch black. I think the best time for you to come here is when it's not winter time, because then it's dark all the time, and not summertime, but like either fall or spring. That might be better.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't mind going in the winter and like shoveling snow with you because that would be a whole different experience
It
for me.
would be. I feel like either way you would love it, just by
Mhm.
like, because you would get like a break from your everyday life, and then we'd be together. I feel like
Mhm.
either time during the year, but like just with the jet lag aspect, I feel like it's easier when it's not either pitch black or like light all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was really fun. Yes. So I did have the intention of like running every day, but it only happened once.
Yeah.
So,
You got
but it
like
was
10
so
TikToks
fun.
out of it though,
Hmm. But
out of that
it
one
was
run.
fun. It was fun. And it was
Yeah.
so fun. Like I loved like going to the gas station and getting all the snacks and because we don't really do that here. Because the
Mm-mm.
gas station food is disgusting.
Yeah. Like the
Like
gas
who gets
food
food from a
here
gas station?
is
Yeah, it's like
like
gourmet.
I mean, comparing it to a gas station in the US, yes.
Hmm.
It's like literally going to like a diner.
Yeah, yeah.
Almost.
So
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of
yeah,
fun.
yeah. No, you'll be.
Um,
My goal is to find you a. We didn't go out, so like we need to find you like a Scandinavian, like a Viking boyfriend. I think that's what you need.
yes. I think any boyfriend at this point. I'm just kidding. No. Honestly, I've been very, and that's another thing too. I've started to actually talk to other men through Hinge, right? That was something new for me. I went on one
Yeah,
date, one
yeah,
date,
yeah.
um, which it was a great date, but it didn't go anywhere. And I just being more open to, like being in a
Things.
romantic relationship, that is something new for me. I haven't been single for this long in my entire life,
Are you kidding?
besides when I was in high, not even in like middle school.
Heather,
Yeah. Yeah, this is
really?
like the longest time I've ever been like single, single.
Wow.
So,
I mean,
and
honestly, good for you. Like you should.
I
I see
know
what
I'm
you
proud of
mean.
myself
Now that is this kind of why you said like I'm awake? Is this kind of what you mean
because
by
I've
that?
barely,
You've been
well,
like by
no, when I'm
yourself?
awake, I've been working on myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been like taking care of somebody else. Even though I do have a son, I'm a mother,
Right.
but like this is the first time in my life where I've actually like focused on me.
Hmm.
and doing what I want and not what everyone else wants of me.
Hmm.
Um, like even my family too, right? And like try to people please. Uh, it's definitely different. And I think this is the most at peace I've ever been. And it is fucking amazing.
Yes.
Fucking
I mean, yeah,
amazing.
I remember like even like around your brother's funeral and how everyone in your family were just kind of like, and like you have a big family, but everyone was just like relying on you to do everything. And I remember being kind of stern with you. I'm like you don't have to do all of this by like you can say no, but I know like I would probably do the same as you because I'm also a people pleaser. And like when you, especially when it's someone that you love, but still, I was just like, your family's relying on you for way too many things,
Hmm.
which
Yeah.
it's not. And I know because I know you, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, like I mean, we talked about this before also. Like, you just
Yeah.
like do the things that you want to do, and it's not your job to make like their lives easier. Like you have a son, it's your job to make his life easier and your own life easier, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So just like, taking a step back from everyone and really just focusing on me has made a huge difference for me. Yeah, another thing, like I had been dealing with depression too, depression and anxiety again, because my sister and then my younger brother, my sister actually, um, she stopped talking to me. She's going through her own like mental struggles. And then my older brother, um, he has been in and out of the ICU for God, this whole
Years.
year, this whole
Mhm.
year in and out of the
Yeah.
ICU. And I've just been dealing with that and also just releasing control of everything.
Yeah.
Because I'm like trying to be heavily involved in him, his medical care, like where he's living. Like I'm just so concerned about him and his well-being, but just learning that I can't, like, he is his own person. I can't
Mhm.
control what he does and what he wants to do. And just knowing, like, yeah,
He's
I
also
think it's,
he's an adult. I
he
mean,
is
he's
an
like
adult.
late, like mid to late 30s, right?
He's in his late 30s, but he's
Yeah.
also has, like, I have
Right.
a history of schizophrenia in my family. And so that's what I have to deal with my
Yeah.
siblings. And well, thank God I don't have any mental health
Yeah.
issues like schizophrenia or anything like that. But
Mhm.
that's what I have to deal with them. And so in my mind, I'm like, they're incapable of doing things. They can't do this for themselves. They can't care for themselves. But that's not true because
Mhm.
they've been caring for themselves all these years. And I just get worried, because I'm afraid of death. I'm afraid of like losing another sibling. I'm like, I can't deal with this again.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
No.
just don't do anything. And so he had recently, the last 2 weeks, he was in the hospital for a week. And like I was just dealing with that. And so it's been like an on and off thing where I've been dealing with like my family.
Yeah.
So
And
like
you're also like a nurse, so like you're dealing with sick people when
right.
you're working as well.
And work has picked up like
Well,
crazy, and I
got
am
more
dealing with a lot
patients.
of sick people and dying people, and
Yeah.
that also takes a toll on me as well.
It
Um,
would with anyone, yeah, especially
mhm.
when it's like in your family as well. But like having that kind of job, it's not for the faint of heart. Like
Yeah,
it's you have to like really not like get it like disassociate kind of almost like from your job because it's really hard. You cannot be an empath and have that kind of job. Like it
can
would
and absorb it all, and then
exactly.
like
And then like
lose
you'll
it
get
all.
sick. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But I think that's why it's important to talk to people, have a
Yeah,
therapist. Like nurses need to have some outlet to
yeah,
talk to people about what they deal with, what they see. And I've learned that, really like the importance of that the last 2 years because I did take 2 years break.
yeah,
And yeah, it does take a toll, whether you want to admit it or not,
yeah.
if you don't talk about it. So. that is something that I've been dealing with. And then yeah, like in my personal development, I've just been I took on a lot of leadership roles. So I've been so busy. I barely had any time for myself. And then like doing this stuff with the podcast, learning how to edit this year, learning all of like the social medias, getting back on social media myself, and then like dealing with the doom scrolling that happens. Like it does affect you a lot when you
Mhm.
are on social media and you're just scrolling. There's so many and all the different platforms, you know,
Yeah.
just having to deal with all of that. Um, and
Do
then
you mean
know,
specifically for the podcast or just like you being back on like on your personal account?
I think for both,
Mm,
right? Because I can easily say, "Oh, I'm doing research for the podcast," but what am I really doing? I'm just fucking scrolling
mhm.
and looking at content. And
Curious, how does it, I mean, like I know that in the beginning when you went back on, it was mainly because of like your ex and like all the things that it reminded you of, like your relationship and like all the mutual friends that you had. Was like, did you have any triggers for social media before, or was it after the breakup that you started like having these like triggers with social media and like why you didn't want to be back on it?
I think what it was is well, for one, when I first got off of social media, I saw that I was just posting for validation. That's
Mm,
literally it. Just posting for validation. And, it was like a lot of the FOMO because it was like, oh, I'm doing this. Like
mhm,
other people are doing this. I want to show off what I'm doing.
mhm.
So I learned that, but then getting back, oop,
Sorry.
and then getting back on social media, yeah, I was afraid that I was going to see things that I didn't want to see.
Mhm.
Like I had told you that, my ex had been with somebody else and I like didn't want to fucking see that. I didn't
Yeah.
want to see my old life. I didn't want to see the people that I thought were my friends
Yeah.
like on social media. Like I was still very resentful and it just like I didn't want to see it. I just didn't want to see it because it was going to trigger all of those old emotions that I had not like faced.
Mm.
So you remember when I first got back on Instagram, she was like, "You need to get back on Instagram like now, like you need to do it yesterday." And it took me so
Yeah,
long to get back on Instagram. I like cried the first
I
day
know.
that I went back on.
I didn't know how deep the cuts were because I thought it was just like, oh yeah, like no, like I want to start over and blah blah. I had like I didn't know, and also I didn't know that you had like triggers even before that. That like it, the FOMO and like all the things and seeing like what everyone is doing and what they have, and like that you also wanted to have it or do it. Like I didn't know that that was like already a thing. I knew
Mhm.
about the like your ex and everything, but I thought it was just like, oh, you can like block and delete and like it would be like easier because it would be just like a blank slate. But
Mhm. Yeah, no, I just figured I would face it head on and
yeah.
deal with whatever came up. And I think that's the whole thing of social media. Everything's a facade. It's all a
Mhm.
fucking facade. People pretending about everything, and it's like not real.
Mhm.
So like I used to pretend all the
Mhm.
time, and I still do pretend,
I mean, like
We
you
only
only
show the
post
good
exactly. I
stuff,
was gonna say you only show the good things. Yeah.
right? Everyone only shows the good things. And well, for the
I
most
mean,
part,
I was gonna say, I mean, like just like a thought that about that because I mean, I just have some examples for like a lot of my friends here, you know, they mainly post photos of like their kids or like pregnancy announcements or engagement announcements or whatever. And like those are like real things, obviously, like very like normal things that everyone like in the world, like they all like get engaged and they have kids and whatever. And I find it interesting how every single time there's a photo of like a baby or something, everyone always likes it. And then if it's something like celebrated, but it's the person is single or like by themselves or wherever, whatever it is, it barely gets any likes. It barely gets any attention. And same thing with like if you post like a beauty photo, like you're like all dolled up and then whatever going out, and then you post like something super random, like of your normal life. Which photo do you think gets the most amount of likes? The beauty one, of course. And like I posted actually after my septic infection, I posted a photo of me like in workout clothes because I was like I could finally like move my body again, and I literally put like I put a text next to it that said like I've never experienced this pain, like being able to move my body again when I didn't think I was going to be able to, blah blah. And then I put a little thing where like I explained just like short like what had happened, and barely like a few people reached out because they're like, oh my god, are you okay? Some had said that they had experienced it before or like knew about it or whatever, but compared to other things that I posted, like I was kind of shocked of how little response, like that real, but not shocked, but shocked kind of thing, because that was like super real, like and like gritty, kind of like it's not like happy and joyful or whatever. But I'm just like, because I thought about it, like, should I post it? But like, what if it could help someone else? Like, what if someone else can be like, oh yeah, like I've heard of that or whatever it may be. But yeah, like that sort of thing just doesn't get attention. It's not appreciated. It's like,
I think it depends on what platform.
right.
So
But
like on
this is Instagram.
Instagram,
This is Instagram
yeah.
specifically. Yeah.
I think Instagram is like so different and people are just there like mindlessly scrolling. And I think something like if you shared something like that on TikTok, it would be completely different. Like
Yeah.
TikTok is more like authentic, raw, like real life
It
things.
was before my TikTok days.
Yeah. So I think if you were to share on TikTok, you would get a completely different response and from
Yeah.
not from the followers that you have for many
Right.
years, like the people that
Yeah.
are just
Randomly seeing your, yeah.
right. And it's just completely different. So I think I am still like to this day like struggling with like posting I'm not struggling posting raw things, but I think on Instagram things should look a certain way.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, that's something that I had struggled with this year and like getting back on social media. And it was because of the podcast that I had to get back on social media.
You told me.
And it's been great. It's been a real huge learning curve. But
Yeah.
obviously it hasn't been pretty at all.
Mm.
So, mhm.
Healing rarely is. Healing is like, if healing was easy and pretty, everyone in the mother would be healed. But
Mhm.
there's a reason why healing takes a lot of work and it's fucking hard. And
Yeah,
oftentimes it's ugly, you know?
it's really ugly. And I just want to share this last thing because I had like a huge breakthrough this past week, where I had been like in such a funk, right? Because like Christmas, the holidays haven't been the same for me. Like
Mm,
obviously since I've separated from my ex and like I used to love decorating and doing all the things and like I haven't done that for 2 years now. Um and
do you
yeah,
not have a tree
all my stuff is in storage.
still? Or you haven't picked
It's
it
still
up?
in, no, it's still in storage and like I just haven't bothered because I've been so busy. And
Mm,
I think like I had acknowledged it the other day when I was talking to one of my girlfriends and I was like, I don't know what's going on with me. And then I was like, that's bullshit. I know exactly what's going on with me, but I haven't said it out loud. And
mm,
so I'm like, I'm still grieving my relationship, you
mm,
know? And like my therapist had told me like I'll be in and out of grief. And so like I acknowledged that, I was still grieving my relationship.
mm,
Um, and so the next day I actually was talking to one of my mentors and I was telling him about it and I was like, "Can you give me the secret sauce of how to get rid of this shit?" And
oh,
he's like, "Well, there's still something incomplete there for you." And so we started digging back to like the end of my relationship and like the things that were being said back and forth. And I think the one thing, I'll just bring it to one of the things, right? So
Yeah,
let's bring
yeah.
it to January when I found out that he was with somebody else. And like the immediate thought I had was, what's wrong with me?
Mm.
What's wrong with me that he had to go and be with somebody else? What is wrong with me?
What
Why?
did I not have that she had or has?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I get it.
I've been with this man for a long time. I've wanted to get married. Like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
And so, like, that was what was deep down in the core. Like, what's
Hmm.
wrong with me? And I was just at the experience of that. Like, what's wrong with me? I was like sad, lonely, frustrated, confused. And then
Hmm.
I brought it back to my childhood when I used to get hit by my dad. And,
Hmm.
you're a young child, you're getting hit constantly. And the thought is, what's wrong with me?
Why am I
What
getting
is
hit? There must be
exactly
something wrong with me. I
what is
100% get
wrong
it.
with
Yep.
me?
Yep.
So that has followed me up until this day.
Wow.
And we connected it to why it's been so difficult for me to like be in romantic connections or even give a chance for that because the whole thing of like what's wrong with me, like
Hmm.
me being in that world is still like showing up and mirroring out in the outside world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just being with that experience and actually like we did this exercise where like I was sitting down and I was being in that experience of like being trapped. Like I imagined myself being trapped in this box of like, what's wrong with me?
Hmm.
And so I created like a new possibility, a new world for myself, which was freedom, love, and peace. And
Hmm.
so stood up, got out of that world, like literally stepped out of the
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
And like I was like, I am creating the possibility for myself of freedom, love, and peace. And I just like owned it, shouted out to the universe, and that is like who I am. Freedom, love, and peace.
Hmm.
And I swear, like ever since then, like things have been so different. And I'm noticing in all of my different conversations with people of when that shows up, of the whole
Hmm.
thing of what's wrong with me.
Hmm.
So like I'm just constantly catching myself and it's like I don't need to be in that space. You know what I mean? Just catching my old self of like
Yeah.
my old responses of who I was and
Hmm.
like just channeling it back to I am fucking worthy. It's his
Yeah.
fucking loss. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with me.
No.
There is nothing wrong with me.
You
It is
remember when when you were actually like in the process of like breaking up and everything? Like I wanted to shake you. I
I
wanted to like I feel like I um mentally shook you because I was so like I was almost like screaming over the phone by some of the things that you told me and also in person. I was like, this guy doesn't fucking deserve you. The things that you do, like in general, the things that you did for him, and the I mean, not to like throw him under the bus, but I can throw him under the bus. Honestly, I've told, especially my mom said this to my mom multiple times, and my other friends too, who have like when I've talked about you, that the things that you've experience growing up, how you were raised, how the rest of your family is, all the things that you've experienced with like your ex-boyfriends, like from high school and everything, how they've treated you, the things you've experienced, and the fact that you are the kindest person, you're the most supportive person. You do whatever you can to try to feel people, like try to make people feel like loved and seen and like how can I help you in like any way? Like you are so kind. Like literally, you are. That's the reason why you're one of my best friends. And then I like when I need someone, I'm like, Heather knows what to say. Like she'll know what to do. Not just when it comes to health stuff, because you're like you're a nurse, so you know those things. But you like the how you've turned out by your circumstances, like you should just know how like amazing that is. Because it, like you said, like all of the circumstances and all the genes in your family, like it could have gone a very different route. But like you're such an amazing human and like you are so kind and like from everything like you've experienced, most people who've gone through that, like they can't find that because hurt people, you know? So I just hope you know that.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm finally having a fucking backbone.
I feel like you've had it like in other senses, but when it came to like your relationship, at least from the little that I saw, I mean like you just needed to like do it, you
Yeah.
know? But
Yeah.
it's not like you didn't have a backbone, but it was like hard because you loved him.
Yeah.
So I feel like you do and you did, but it was just like
It
because I
was
mean like
tricky.
and for anyone it can be hard to leave a relationships relationship or something else, even if like they are the strongest mentally or whatever. But like there's when there's feelings involved, it's gonna be hard, you know?
Right. Right. And I think like for because like that's why it also was hard for me to leave because like we have been together for a long time. That was the story. Like we have like I'm not starting all over again. Like what a waste.
He was
And
Mason's stepdad, like
right. Yeah,
yeah,
like this is it. And like I kept waiting year after year after year. Yeah, we're gonna get married. I'm gonna propose. I'm gonna get a ring. All this stuff and I'm like, okay, I'm still waiting. And so like I finally was just like, if we're not getting married, I'm fucking leaving. Like
there
I
were
and
also a few
at
other
the
things like
well, right, right,
also
right.
things sad, but yeah.
At the end of the relationship though, I was just very hurt and sad, and I just didn't feel worthy or
Yeah.
valued. And again, like there are things too that I did that, I take full responsibility of how the relationship was and how long I stayed. That was all me,
Mhm.
right? And it happened the way that it happened, but there's nothing wrong with me.
No.
And it's, you know his loss that he doesn't get to be
Yeah.
in a relationship with me.
Seriously.
And yeah, I just, now that I see like who I am in a relationship, like I'm super supportive. Like if you need me, like how you said, thank you so much too. Like I am there for you. If you want to fucking sit on the phone for hours, I'm there. If you need help with like getting a party together, I'm fucking there. If you need help moving, I'm there. If you like, I am that person you can call on and count on. And if I
Yeah.
tell you something, I'm gonna do it. And yeah, it's his fucking loss.
Yeah, seriously.
So that is something that I learned. Not that I learned, but it was the
Well,
whole thing of like, what's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with
yeah.
me. And I didn't see that until literally this week.
Yeah.
So it was a huge discovery for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Let's jump to the rapid fire questions because
Oh
I
yeah.
think we've been
We've been talking for a
burnt out
minute.
a while.
Yeah.
So see, this is
Okay.
something we can talk. We like have
I
no
know.
problems talking about because it's real.
Exactly. That's what I think we need to just keep talking about these things, honestly. I
Mhm.
think that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you most proud of from this year?
I think I have really been true to myself this year. I have not said anything out of just wanting to say it because I think that's what someone else wants to hear, or done anything because I think that's what someone or anyone wants me to do, and said no to things that I didn't want to do. Um, yeah, just like staying true to like my own needs and wants.
I love
What about
that. Same, same.
you? Yay,
Focusing on
virtual
myself.
high five.
Same. Yeah, living my life on my own terms.
Mhm.
Seriously, it's been the best thing ever.
Yeah. Okay. What challenge has helped you grow the most?
Hmm. I think my dealing with my brother's death was like the
Yeah.
most challenging thing that has really helped me grow. Because now not that I haven't seen life in a different view, but now so just knowing like how precious life is, like I just am so grateful now.
Yeah.
Like just grateful for being alive and grateful that my son is healthy, grateful that my friends are alive right now, and just knowing like they are alive and just showing them so much love, telling everyone that I love them. And
Hmm.
that's like the best thing that has helped me grow in life. So what's one thing you're leaving behind from this year?
Everything. No, I'm kidding. I feel like I have lost a little bit of myself. I feel like I'm not as like confident and goofy and like ready to take on the world like I have been my whole life and in LA. Um, but like outwardly, not just like when I'm by myself and like I can do this. I have all these plans. Like I have a lot of projects that I'm working on that I haven't told a lot of people because like I like to work in silence and like show everyone because people are doubting me. Feels like people are doubting me all the time because I'm not doing things visibly and I'm not talking about it all the time.
But also, like with that being said, like is that because you're saying like people are doubting you, but is it really you doubting yourself because nobody's actually saying anything to you?
It's a mix of both, I think, because I think um because I still don't want to do all the things that everyone else is doing. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't want kids right now. I don't want to like settle down, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that it's not easy for them to understand, maybe, because like that's what they want. And I'm sure that they love their life and they think it's awesome. So they're like, everyone should want this. You know what I mean? So, and
I think
so,
it's too like, like you and I, we started this podcast and we're two completely different people from two
mhm,
completely different worlds.
yep.
And like, I'm not married, but I do have a kid. But I'm not trying to like push that on you. Like you are
Mhm.
your own individual. And what's great is we are both different.
Yeah.
We can both learn from each other from different like perspectives. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's probably a mix of like just it's different here in Norway. It's not that common to go against the grain. Um, and so yeah, I think I just like I'm leaving behind like me being like kind of timid because I feel like I have been like a little bit like I just need to like be
fucking own
myself
it.
again. I just need
Own
to.
it.
Yeah, because like you should have seen me when I like walk down the street. I used to like flaunt my fucking ass just walking down the street. I used to command every room that I walked into. Just like I would go out more too, because like it's different when like you're like all dolled up, whatever. But I used to just like have so much confidence, and I feel like I've lost it a little bit, and I need to get back to that because like life is too short to get complacent.
Can I
Not again.
shake you? Can I
Yeah.
shake you right now?
Yeah. I know. You said
Wake
this a million times.
up.
I know.
Fuck them all.
Fuck them all. If you don't like it, then too bad. Because
Exactly.
I love
Let
it.
people talk behind your back. That's the best thing. Let them talk about you. Let them talk about
Well,
you.
let's hope they don't. But
But I mean, it's none of like our business of what people say about us behind our back. That sounds like a personal problem over there. Sounds like a personal problem over there.
oh, yeah,
Um, but anyways,
yeah,
I
I
love
get
this episode.
yeah. This feels like core. Like this is
This
like a
is
core.
this is raw. This is
Yeah.
diving deep.
Is it also unfiltered, I may say?
Well, I mean, it's all been unfiltered.
I
It's all
know.
been unfiltered.
But you know
But
what I mean?
anyways, wow, what a journey this year has been, both in life and in podcasting. Reflecting on the highs, the lows, and everything in between has reminded us just how far we've come. So, as we wrap up, we want to leave you with this. Reflection isn't just about the past. It's about understanding where you've been so you can move forward with clarity, intention, and maybe even a little more compassion for yourself.
Absolutely. We're so grateful for each and every one of you for tuning in, supporting us, and being a part of this community. And also sharing this space with you has been one of our favorite parts of this year. And we can't to see where the next chapter takes us all together. Now, take some time to think about what you're proud of, what you've learned, and what you're ready to embrace in the year ahead. And if you feel inspired, we'd love to hear your reflections, and you should connect with us on social media and drop us a message.
Thank you for being here with us this year. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might need a little reflection inspiration right now.
Here's to growth, gratitude, and staying unfiltered. Take care and keep reflecting. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening. We hope you got some takeaways from today's episode.
You can also follow us on Instagram and YouTube at 30s Unfiltered or email us at 30sunfiltered@gmail.com.
Please leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to our channels. See you next time.